Nothing is ever going to change here in America because the people in power and behind the closed curtains and all that jazz have a split essentially 50-50. This is why whenever there's a major protest or rally, against the president or for a president, you're having the other opposing political party making fun of the other political party for doing whatever they were doing, whether it is rallying for the president or going against him. This is why when you had the No Kings protest where millions of people showed up and nothing was achieved of that protest, it's almost as if everyone has become so complacent that they don't actually want to take action. The action that is taken is simply holding up signs and walking the streets to voice your own opinions, but still nothing is done about it because then again, you're having the other 50% of the population making fun of that 50% of the population, if that makes sense. And this is why ultimately nothing changes here in America, and we continue to see corruption take place year after year, and it's just continuing to get worse and worse. It's why we're still not seeing any changes when it comes to congressmen or women doing insider trading on the stock market, making tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars throughout their career on a $170,000 salary. Right? It doesn't make sense. It does not add up. It's rules for thee, but not for them. And that's the problem. We literally have documentation on a lot of these trades happening, especially when it comes to Nancy Pelosi and her being worth what, over 100 million freaking dollars. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And what's saddening is if a person mentions their political party, whether you're a liberal or you're a conservative, and you're talking to the opposing side, you're automatically labeled within that person's mind as being bad or negative. And ultimately, people just want to get away from you. We've essentially gone away from having discussions and trying to gain an understanding on the other person's beliefs. And hopefully, maybe we explain them ours. That way, we both gain an understanding for one another and at least some sort of respect to just saying and labeling people as being hateful or racist or whatever. This is why a lot of these words, these racist and phobes words here in the 21st century, don't mean absolutely anything anymore. And what's more horrific is that our own government released so much email documentation on Epstein and his clients and whatever the hell they did because some of those emails had some horrific stuff in them. And guess what? Nothing was done about it. Not a single arrest has been made. And that event ultimately led people to reunite, right, as one. We wanted to see people get arrested and for changes to be made. But ultimately, what happened? Absolutely nothing. These horrific people that have done who knows what to women and children are still out there running companies, making so much money, being corrupt and greedy, and yet they're not punished, but the common man or woman is more punished than them. That is the bigger issue. And the government has moved on from that whole dilemma. And we're now onto UFOs, where we're getting imaging and videoing of these flying aircrafts that did absolutely no harm to us. And yet these horrific human beings are still out there, breathing. And ultimately, this is where my dreams for any changes in a positive way for the United States of America of occurring ultimately go and die. Because if something as big as the Epstein list and whatever the hell he was involved with got absolutely no justice, then nothing else will in this country when it comes to corrupt politicians or leaders that continuously run our government to the ground and continuously try to make their lives better while ruining everyone else's lives when it comes to inflation, to these stupid laws that are being put in place, to our inept leaders not knowing the basics of running a country. This is just going to continue to get worse. And you're going to have people just continuously attacking one another until eventually there is probably some sort of civil war that occurs. And then that is where things will get real and things will get a lot more harder for everyone's lives. And that's where a lot of people are going to look back and say, yeah, this wasn't the other person's fault. It was the people who were in charge who brought this out, who ultimately set up this system to be the way it is so they can continue to deepen their pockets and continue to get rich and allow for newer generations of their own family line continue to live in this rich lifestyle while everyone else continues to get poorer and suffer. Because at the end of the day, both sides have been bought. There is no old Democrat or old Republican party. These two new parties that have come out are just completely different beasts. Both sides are being bought up by corporations because at the end of the day, a lot of these leaders or these political party members want to hold their positions of power because it's bringing them so much wealth. And also, when you're appeasing to these corporations, you are essentially just receiving millions of dollars from them, but in return, you have to at least appease them with their wants and their needs. And again, the common person, the common civilian is left out of the equation, and we have less say than these faceless entities, these faceless companies that just want to squeeze human capital to continue to make huge profits and continuously allow those profits to move up the ladder for these CEOs of the companies making multi-millions of dollars every single year and continuously see their salaries increase tenfold while your salary is barely keeping up with inflation. So perhaps instead of attacking people who have religious beliefs and are right-leaning, or people who are colored hair and have left-leaning beliefs, maybe we should all find some type of common ground where we can agree on a certain topic and actually bring some sort of change to this country from turning into a hellhole, because that is where it is heading.